Alrighty, so let's hopefully I'm gonna send you over to this Patreon commercial, and hopefully by the time that we get done with that, we'll be ready to go into the draft. And just like that, commercial into the game. Game 1, Battlefield of Eternity between UARK Esports and Bancho. The hype is real, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a crazy match. I cannot wait to see just the depth that these guys go to. Somebody was listening in on the stream for that 10 minutes because they said, yeah, you're not getting that volley. Not happening. And these bans coming out super fast. Banning out the Vala and the Ana. Ana, of course, being a top tier support. And there goes the Anubrak. Not a big surprise. Those are two of those heroes that, as I mentioned earlier, were pretty confidently part of their main 5-person rotation. So, I would expect those to be out. And what do we get from Bancho now? So they've got that list, and there goes that Sylvanas. Again, Sylvanas just so much damage these days. Can really just wreck a team if you're not really careful. And here we go with the Johanna coming out for Blue Space Hat. So not only did they ban the Anubrak, they said, give me that Johanna. And UARK, during the time that I saw at least, had not played a lot of Johanna. They were 1-1 with her up until we played them. Diablo and Tyrande coming out. So Diablo, before his rework, this arguably not one of his best maps, but with that rework, getting the souls from his level 4 talents can really help to bring that up. These guys are just going to town. They are ready to go. And there's that Tyrande that I mentioned earlier was going to be a high priority. Made it all the way to the second selection. Let's see. And the Jaina Imperius coming out. So not great amounts of race, but they do have some really solid hero damage here. So look for them to, maybe defend. Look to get that percent damage on the Diablo and eliminate him from the game very early in these Immortal races. Stukov and Raynor, so Stukov kind of a pain in the neck, especially if you're Diablo, you try to charge in and unable to now make all of your stuns and charges and flips happen. And of course, Raynor being a significant value with both the race and also his potential bonus for the 15% ace in the hole damage if you go for a little bit more team fight. Greymane and Lunara, so fully committing to the race is Bancho. And I think that Raynor probably was a good ban here for making sure that they can't get... I think if he takes Exterminator, I think at level 1 he becomes the top damage currently, other than Greymane as he levels up, of course. Hanzo got a little bit neutered on his immortal damage, but still puts out some pretty decent numbers there. Of course, Lunara with that Nature's Culling. So they've got a pretty significant race here out of that Greymane Lunara combo, especially with the Tyrande vulnerability, and UARK has a pretty solid team fight. They got some significant lockdown and CCs, so pretty different styles here out of these teams, and it's going to be interesting to see just how they take this. Where do they go with this? Only 2-lane map in the current rotation for BOE, and most of the time, most teams seem to avoid this place. So a little bit different style as we get into game number 1. Wow, I'm fast forwarding into the future here. Game number 1 in between UARK Esports and Bancho. Now, if you are here supporting one team or the other, shout them out in chat. Make sure you say you give them that support. This is going to be a tight match, and when they come back and watch the VOD later, they need to to feel the goodness coming out of you guys. So throw out some hashtags, some well wishes, and let's get this game going. All right, so game number 1 on the left for UARK Esports. We have Z-Blaster coming in on Jaina. Pokemaster J is on Hanzo. Dead Latin's going to be playing the Lucio. Blue Space Hat on the Johanna. And Jax Taxman on Imperius. For Bancho on Lunara, we've got Quinal. On the Greymane, we've got Shusui. Blue Steen is going to be playing that Tyrande. Spice on that massive Diablo. And Sluggoden is going to be playing the Orphea. And looks like we do have a band skin out there, so we'll see if anybody bothers to complain about that here soon. And thank you for those 100 bits, Rena. Much appreciated. We appreciate you. Top lane going to be Lunara versus Imperius. Fully expect that to be favorable for Lunara as long as she can hop out of the badness. So we do see a couple of quest talents. Of course, Hanzo's being the Scatter Arrow build and the Fingers of Frost coming for Jaina. And that's all the quest talents we have at level 1. So for right now, we'll just get a little bit of a 4v4 fight down in the bot lane. And in the top here, as mentioned, it was pretty heavily in favor of Lunara, but then Imperius said, hey, by the way, I got this E talent. And that's going to bring you down to half just by stopping by. And we've got Bell in chat shouting out that Bancho looking for the win here. Diablo keeping an eye on what's going on in this bot camp area, though they haven't started anything. Maybe waiting on Jaina's spells to come up, as it looks like they're just going to go ahead and back off. They know that Bancho is up in their business and can come in at any time, and that Diablo, even though he doesn't have a whole bunch of souls, can still be an absolute terror to them. Ah, see what I did there, Lord of Terror? Come on now. And the blind going out, hitting 3 people. Now, of course, it should be noted that that blind out of Johanna does cause Tyrande's healing to be a little bit negated. Not necessarily the healing itself, but slowing down her ability to reduce the cooldown of her Q resets. And Lunara dodging out of that Celestial Charge from Imperius, likely saving her life as she does get some poison damage on him. But both teams kind of posturing around, looking at the bottom camp, but not really able to actually move in and take it, as UARK is going to go ahead and be the first team to head over here to their Shaman camp and get that started. And there's 15 seconds until this first objective starts to spawn, so they'll likely have to get off this and wait. Nope, they're just going to go ahead and pass it out there. And I imagine now with that, they're going to try to get the value of maybe getting the Khazra camp in the bottom because of the push from here. Because they know that the enemy team is now at their Shaman camp, but you don't have a whole lot of time. And ultimately, the Khazra camp's just not going to be as valuable as the Shaman camp would be pushing on this. So Diablo just walking past the Johanna, but he sees that there are other people in that bot camp. Doesn't want to get too aggressive. And by aggressive, I apparently was wrong. He does want to be aggressive, just walking in and face checking that bush right after they get the camp. So, top lane Shaman camp's going. Bot lane we have the Khazra camp just getting started. And we will see, looks like UARK's going to go ahead and have a little bit of a defense here with Imperius and, okay, it does look like Imperius and Jaina and Lucia are going to get started on the race. And we are just going to see here 5 members of Bancho coming in here, but they were a little bit late to the party, so they're actually a little bit behind now. And now 5 versus 5 on the safe side. We do see now the blue team coming in to just push hard. Spice on Diablo is gonna get chunked down and will go down, and Tyrande gets stunned by the Immortal, ultimately goes down as well. And the defense managing to take a 2-0 with that first blood, but the Immortal's already at about 25% health, so they have to send somebody back to go start working on theirs, as both of the Tyrande and Diablo will be back up very soon here. Lunara just looking to get her poke damage in, And at 4, we do see that she took that Nature's Calling. The Imperius gets stunned, flipped, and it looks like he's going to get body blocked and go down. Dead Latin on the Lucio is very close. Does manage to get away, though, just barely, as they're trying to get the race, but they're not quite able to get enough damage to finish it. So the first Immortal will go over to UARK Esports. And look at that health on Lucio, 130 health. Just barely making it out of there. Bancho rotating up, want to clear up this lane and get onto this Immortal as quickly as they can. They have not a whole lot of shields on it. They do have pretty solid race, so they can clear this pretty quickly. Tyrande throwing out the armor reduction talent on it. And it's just going to melt. Gets the one tower, maybe gets the wall thanks to the team, but Diablo chunked down, gets across his wall, but he's got to be careful. Thanks to that Devil's Due talent, he's going to be full health thanks to the healing well there. So 4v4 up top here. Johanna pops her Iron Skin to walk away. And just an ultimate reset there. They do get that wall. So, you know, certainly significant value out of their comp to get those 2 kills, push on the Immortal, and then defend against the race comp coming out from Bancho. Johanna sniffing out this top camp, realizes that there are 4 members of Bancho and saying, yeah, this is not in my best interest right now. And in the bot lane, we're seeing the exact opposite. UARK will come down here and grab the Khazra camp down here. Let's take a look here up top. So we've got 4 members of Bancho looking to push this in with their Khazra camp, get this wall down, and at least equalize the pressure in the top lane. So now their minions can push forward and not have to worry about getting shot by the towers as well. In the bot lane, we do see a little bit of an advantage over to UARK as well. And Shaman Camp just coming up for Bancho. UARK's was up a few moments ago, but of course they hadn't started yet. So they are going to go ahead and push this down pretty quickly and send that out right away, because they realize that UARK's over here working on theirs as well, and they don't have quite the same clear, and they want to get onto this Immortal as quickly as possible. Both teams very close in experience, about maybe a 1/10 of a level apart. And it is a full 5v5. Johanna goes in with the Imperius as Greymane gets caught by that Celestial Charge, and now Bancho having to back out. Orphea's in trouble, but she cues away, doing that dance away from the enemy team. And she will get a heal out of that Tyrande. But now UARK Esports coming back to clear up this Shaman camp. So they don't have any pressure on the Immortals yet. Now as Bancho coming to clear up the Shaman camp in the bot lane. So UARK taking this slight advantage while they're waiting on Greymane to return to get as much damage onto this Immortal as they can. And it does look like they may very well be able to get to halftime before there's any significant counter pressure here. And we may very well see level 10s coming out, depending on how much posturing there is in this mid-fight here. We may see level 10s coming out in the middle of this fight. Just a quick look at these talents again. So we did see the Wizened Duelist and Orphea's East stacking quest. Here come the level 10s for UARK Esports first. Dragon Arrow, Blessed Shield, Sound Barrier, Angelic Armaments, and the Water Elemental for Jaina. So they're looking to make something happen here as Greymane is pushing down that bottom Immortal. Johanna gets stunned by the Immortal, but she's Johanna. She has a big health pool. Throws out that blind. And we've got the Imperius and Lucio trying to chase down said Greymane as Diablo will charge Imperius into the wall. Angelic Armaments goes out. Lunara leaps over the Imperius, slowing him down, gets a little bit of dot damage, and the second leap will finally finish off the Imperius. And the Water Elemental coming out, trying to chase her down, but she makes it past the wall. Greymane charging in and gets chunked down, but the Lunar Flare onto the Jaina. Big condemn onto 4 members of Bancho, almost able to catch up to that Lunara, but not quite able to finish the job. She escapes with just over 100 health, and Imperius will be coming back up now that these death timers are so short. And Greymane gets pulled in by the condemn, 27 health, but he goes down anyway. almost made it out. And now Sluggaden on the Orphea having to try to Q to get away, but not quite able to do so. So a 1-0 loss turns into a 2-0 win for UARK Esports, as now they're going to come up here and get the rest of this Immortal down. And now they've got a much healthier Immortal looking to push, I believe, in the bot lane. Hanzo didn't get that message. He was heading up top. So second Immortal, both Immortals in the matchup here, going over to the team with a little bit more focus on a team fight than the race. But let's take a look at these heroics. We've got the Shadow Stalk, the Leaping Strike, I think is it. Yep. The Eternal Feast, Lightning Breath, and Cursed Bullet coming out for Greymane. So 4v4 here of the Condemned going out, hitting 2 of Bancho, and this Immortal's still pretty healthy. Now starting on that fort, and it looks like it's almost going to burn down the well. Johanna getting chunked down by that Lunara, having to walk away, pops Iron Skin, and now she potentially is in trouble if she keeps going in there. But it looks like they realize that too. Jaina getting knocked down to half by the Leaping Strike and damage coming out of Lunara. But they will ultimately be able to back away thanks to the Water Elemental causing some slows. More like best friend. That's true. We are totally BFFs. Take the... Yeah, absolutely. Lucio coming at you, right? I mean, he tells it to you right when you select him. So we've got Diablo checking out the bot here, just anchoring for his team as this Khazra camp was taken. Up in the top lane, though, Orphea and Greymane. Greymane may be sniffing this out. He's trying to get away, but Eternal Feast going out. I don't know about that one. It is a pretty short cooldown, though, so whatever. She did get some value out of it, but just too far forward with what they had coming in. And Pokemaster J on the Hanzo, very low in health, but not too worried about it as they managed to shred that Khazra camp. Sorry for the yawns this evening, folks. It's a wee bit late. Lunara getting the soak down here in the bot lane as we see 13 coming online for UARK. We do see that, is that mounted combat, is that what they call it? Mounted archery, the icy veins, the spinning hammers, and that wall ride talent for the extra armor. Not a bad idea to have that Diablo. Gives you a little bit more survivability should Diablo manage to pound you into the wall you're riding on. And then the, is that the heal? Yeah, the heal for Heat of Battle for Imperius. And now we see that Q spell armor talent for Orphea, and the On the Prowl giving that movement speed to Greymane. So again, looking to be able to stay in that fight a little bit more, keep that Inner Beast duration going, and additional spell power for Diablo now when he hits heroes. So it looks like both teams looking to get the race going on here and meet each other at halftime, since they both have the Shaman camps. And the Shaman camp, of course, slightly in favor of UARK because they've already gotten that first fort down. All right, so these are on the defensive posture here. So it looks like UARK's going to go ahead and take the time to clear up that camp, pop out the Sonic Arrow, and with that in mind, now that they see them there, yeah, they missed that chance. It looked like they were potentially going to go in and try to get some damage on the Immortal, but Bancho ultimately deciding not the time to do it. And now, being down on the positioning, UARK just walks in and says, we see you're down there, we're going to go ahead and take as much out of this Immortal as we can. And Bancho has to back away from clearing that camp, which ultimately did get cleared thanks to the minions and the wall. So now you're once again, your race comp is unable to get where it needs to be in order to get the damage on the Immortal. And you've got to make something happen. There's the flip onto Johanna, yeah, but she just walks away. Blue's team very low on the Tyrande as the sound barrier comes out from Lucio, but ultimately Johanna does fall to this. UARK's Jaina getting very low, the Eternal Feast going out, but there's no lockdown to keep him from just walking away. Pokemaster J on the Hanzo also very low, getting slowed by the Lunara. all of them getting dots except for the Lucio managing somehow to stay away. And this race comp now finally being able to get onto the Immortal and really get some significant push on it. Lunara coming back, sees that Imperius is trying to be cheeky to come finish off their own Immortal, and it looks like if she just gets the one more hit, she might be able to finish him, but he pops the Angelic Armaments and will ultimately not be able to make it out. That crippling spores ultimately, I think, came out from Lunara to finish the job. So now they are down the Angel of Justice, I think? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, he's one of the angels. He does things. So now the first Immortal going over to Bancho. It has no shielding, basically, by the time it gets to the wall, so it's not being able to do too much. Maybe they get this fort to half by the time it's dead and try to get some more value out of it. The Cursed Bullet going on Johanna gets her down pretty significantly there from full. As Lunara hops over Johanna, it just reminds her that she's in this game. And they do melt that fort, and because of that pressure against the Johanna, UARK just has to back away. So they will get some front keep wall damage here. The Hanzo arrow managing to hit 3 members as Orphea gets caught by the Celestial Charge. Bluestein in trouble thanks to that Lucio. And look at this, Lucio charging him forward. The Water Elemental slowing Diablo as he's going to lose his souls. He'll be back in just a moment. Lunara and Greymane, the only members able to get out of this. And Lucio saying, I'm not done. We're coming for you, Greymane. And he sees him. He's trying to catch up, but unfortunately just not quite able to keep up with that mount speed. So they'll just work on getting this top fort down now. Angel of Valor. Okay, thank you. Bell, I appreciate it. I knew he was an angel of something. Maybe it's Tyrael the Angel of Justice? I don't know what I'm talking about. I played Diablo a little bit. Alright, so all 5 members up for both teams. Level 16s online. Let's take a look at these. So we do have for Hanzo the piercing arrows. I believe that's the root for Jaina. In fact, it is. And it looks like Bancho's going to go ahead and back out. They see them coming down, or at least got that idea that they were coming down. So they're going to go ahead and back out here, get the Shaman camp started. Rejuvenescencia coming out for Lucio, giving that percentage healing to that really bulky front line for Johanna and Imperius. And then, again, the armor for Imperius, trying to make sure that he can live as long as possible, as they'll now get onto their Shaman camp. And then for Bancho, we do see the unfair advantage, so that additional damage to slowed heroes, which is really helpful coming out of that Orphea with those slows. And it looks like Imperius diving in on the Greymane manages to get somebody pulled in there with the Condemn. I didn't see who it was. Diablo going with a Lightning Breath gets chunked down to about half, but he does have healing coming out of those globes. The Hanzo arrow coming out, but it was just too short range to really get any significant value. So Blue Space Hat on the Johanna, very low in health thanks to the Greymane Cursed Bullet, but ultimately they'll just go ahead and run up here and get this damage started on the Immortal, get it down to this halftime very quickly. Executioner coming out from Greymane wants to get that 30% damage with those slows, and the Domination charge flip charge out of the Diablo, and 3% health stealing coming for Orphea. Alright, so if you are Bancho, this Immortal's a little bit chunked down. You got to get in here and help this thing out, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to try to do. Blue Space Hat already low down, and the charge in on Jack's Taxman. Here comes the Eternal Feast, but again, no lockdown to follow up, so Imperius just jumps out of it. And the Cursed Bullet going out, I think, on Jack's Taxman, but ultimately, no big deal to him. And Lucio, with that percentage healing, will go ahead and heal up his team to full. The Blessed Shield going out on Greymane, but in the backline, Imperius able to get both Diablo and Orphea. Greymane trying to get away, charge onto the Johanna, but she manages to survive that. The Hanzo arrow coming in, and there goes the Greymane and Diablo, thanks to that lockdown. Lucio trying to keep in on the Tyrande, and now having to watch out for the Lunara doing that leaping strike over him, getting that dot damage going. Thank you, Bell, for confirming Tyrael is the Angel of Justice. And now in the top lane, this pretty healthy shield on the Immortal. if you are Bancho looking at this, if you die, if you lose a hero or two, this doesn't go keep. This goes straight into core. So be careful here. Try to find a way to lockdown if you're going to throw out that Eternal Feast. Your only real lockdown, I guess, is Diablo's Lightning Breath, and that's not that great. I think Eternal Feast was maybe a questionable pick on this one. Lunar Flare hitting that Johanna as the keep is just going down, and it'll be dead here in the next moment once the Immortal attacks it again. So they are looking to push in with this. Level 19, they're a third of a level away, so at some point this is coming in. The arrow just barely missing, and the Blessed Shield as well. That might be their saving grace as Johanna gets caught out, charged into that wall. She does get the Ice Block, the Imperious stabbing into 2, and there goes the Jaina thanks to that Eternal Feast. But the Immortal chunking down the core 46%, 38%, and one more hit. No, not quite. So it will ultimately save the game there, missing the Hanzo arrow, missing the Blessed Shield. I think there was something else that maybe missed, but I don't know. No, I guess there wasn't anything else that they could have thrown out. So those two big heavy stuns ultimately leading the charge for Bancho, and now that they're finding themselves with a man advantage, the Cursed Bullet going into the fort, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't do anything to forts. They're trying to get this bottom keep to at least catch up, but it's still 4v5 and a level 20. Imperious catches both Sluggadon and Spice in that Celestial Charge. And now they don't have much of a wave left, so they just got to poke it and back away. As now there's a camp going on their core. The Blessed Shield hits that time as Lunara gets obliterated, followed by additional damage from the team. And Diablo sitting at 100 health. If Johanna flashlights him, he might just die here. Lucio charging down, the Condemn going, and there goes Diablo as the core loses its shielding, 31%, and it looks like this is going to be game. Now Lucio trying to keep up with Orphea, not going to be able to catch her, but it's not going to matter. This catapult by itself is getting this core down, and here comes the rest of the team to finish the job. And that's going to be game number 1 going over to UARK Esports. All right then. That was a heck of a play, and two different styles. You had a more of a team fight focused match coming out from UARK Esports with two characters that never died, Hanzo and Lucio. And then you had a very race-heavy comp coming out of Bancho. And just as a reminder, Bancho is the one that selected this map. And they had a little bit more history on the Battlefield of Eternity than UARK did. So, unfortunately for them, it did not work out in their favor this time. So, we'll see if they choose to take the map pick or first pick in the next round. We'll be right back in just a moment after these messages. All right, welcome back, everybody. Took a moment to get everybody into the draft here, but it looks like everybody's all set here. So we are going to go ahead and head over to Alterac Pass for our next map, as Bancho elected for first pick. So UARK went ahead and picked this one up. Let me know when you're ready. So we'll see when the teams wake up over here. Rena and Ben Hayes, thanks for the bits and subscription with your Prime subscription. Much appreciated. Let's maybe scale back on the chat a little bit. There's probably one or two people here that wouldn't mind that. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? So, okay, so it does look like we need another moment here for one of the teams. So, again, just taking a look at these standings here. So, ignore the awkwardness on that regen and almost legends at the bottom lane there. I think I can change that while I'm talking. But we do see regen red, the number 2 seed, and almost legends number 3 coming up here in the next bracket in semis here. And then we also have the Found Vikings are going to be facing whoever wins this match here today. So the Found Vikings did defeat UARK Esports. However, Bancho actually did beat the Found Vikings 2-1 in their matchup. Just I believe that may have even been last week. There we go, regen red and almost legends swapped, and now all things look correct in the world. And they're asking for all sorts of don't ban this and let me play that in chat. Go figure. You know, pretty much your normal set of circumstances. So while we've got a moment, taking a look at the rest of things here. So Alterac Pass, not played much by Bancho. UARK, however, let's take a look at their stats. UARK has played here a couple of times, at least in my original report here. They were 1-1 at the time, so a little bit of a team fighty map over those control points, trying to save those prisoners. And that last match pretty heavily favored UARK in the team fight. Now, of course, things will be a little bit different on this map. I imagine we'll see less of a race comp out of Bancho, so we'll just see how things carry out with this. Let's see here. What else do we have? Let me go ahead and I'm going to pop you over to our commercial, and I'll be back in just a moment. All right, and it looks like we did get the ready from the other team. Let me just confirm that the first one is UARK. So I think we are just about ready to get into this map on Alterac Pass between UARK and Bancho, and it looks like we are. So we're gonna go ahead and start this up. 3, 2, 1, starting up the draft. Alterac Pass, a map that I am a big fan of, if for no other reason than it's a Warcraft-themed map, and you have a different core mechanic a little bit here. Much harder to just waltz in and take the core because of its regeneration tactic and the armor of the keeps. Each keep giving them 20 armor. So right out of the gate, we see an Ana and an Anubarak ban. 2 bands that we are familiar with from last game, followed up by that Sylvanas, and this being probably Sylvanas' best map in the current meta anyways, I think, in the current map rotation, as the cavalry just gets so much value with Sylvanas. And Imperius looking to change teams, going over to Bluestein, and I did mention earlier that they do flex around a little bit on their heroes here. So we'll see if they end up changing that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they don't. Because last last round, Bluestein was on that Tyrande. And the Jaina Garrosh coming out on the side of UARK Esports. So Z Blaster once again on the Jaina, blue space hat on that Garrosh, getting that flip value and saying, go ahead, come in, Imperius, I'll throw you behind me. But then you come out with the ETC Ariel. I think I might know where they're going with this. We'll see. We'll see if it looks like they didn't. So I'm interested to see if they get this. I think, you know, Bancho, earlier I mentioned they play a lot of double tank. So they've got the ETC, they've got the Imperius. Okay, so it's not quite double tank, but it's still pretty beefy front line. I'm not going to be surprised if we see a Vala out of Bancho. And here we get a Hammer ban and an Orphea ban. So let's see, what does UARK want at this point? They want a healer, so they want somebody to help lock down with the Garrosh throws. Dahaka giving him that map presence elsewhere in that global, that bonus XP. Dead Latin then getting the Stukov, so that can help with that lockdown with the throw into the silence pool, and potentially even if he's got the Pustule on him, getting that silence and the root. Jax Taxman, if they've played it, if they've gotten that combo well, the throw into the Dahaka tongue could also be devastating. So Falstad Junkrat, not where I thought they were going to go, but that's okay. Junkrat can poke at this objective forever. And Falstad giving them the answer to that global pressure out of Dahaka. And then we're going to see Poke Master J on the Hanzo again. So, alright, fair enough. So we see a couple of familiar heroes coming out from UARK. And a similar comp to what a generally similar comp coming out from Bancho as to what I would expect from them. So we'll see how this turns out. Oh my goodness, you found Finnegan. Finnegan showing up in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who Finnegan is, that is Rena's cat. And here we go into game number 2 on Alterac Pass between UARK Esports and Bancho. So again, in the regular season, UARK Esports did win this matchup 2-0. And that's what they're looking to finish up with here tonight. They want to finish this match and go and watch the Game of Thrones that they didn't get to watch earlier because they were practicing probably. I don't know. Introducing on the blue side, we have Z Blaster on the Jaina. Dead Latin is on that Stukov. Poke Master J is going to be on Hanzo. Jax Taxman on the Dahaka. And Blue Space Hat on the Garrosh. And for Bancho on the red team, Sluggaden is going to be on the Falstad. Shusui on the ETC. Spice going to be playing the Ariel. Quinal on the Junkrat, I think that is. And up in the top lane, Bluestein V2. And if you didn't know, the Dead Latin and Jax Taxman have been doing some casting around the Nexus. So I believe that they actually cast one of our games, and they've been, you know, getting out there pretty well. So keep an eye out for their cast from time to time. They might just catch your team. Some quest talents at level 1 here. We do see the Hammer quest for the Falstad, as well as Prog Rock for ETC. And all kinds of quest talents over here for UARK Esports, as Oriel knocks Blue Space Hat into that not quite wall of the ice pool. Oh, and Hanzo gets booped over. What a concussion mine that was. But he's Hanzo, so he does manage to flip away. But holy cow, you gotta be careful with this Junkrat. That displacement could just land you in hot water on a frozen map. Anyways, whatever. So the talents, we do see that fetid touch. We see the redemption out of Hanzo, as, by the way, UARK Esports heading over to get their camp. And in the top lane, we just managed to catch Imperius taking out the Dahaka, barely surviving. Fingers Frosted again, of course, and the Groundbreaker talent Warbreaker for Garrosh, and of course the Tissue Regeneration for Dahaka. Didn't really help him in that last fight between that Imperius. Oriole flight at 20. Maybe. It could happen. It could happen. We'll see what happens. And here goes another boop for Garrosh, knocking him into the lane as ETC will power slide in, get some extra damage from those towers, and the Aurel's stun gets some significant value on that Garrosh. So Garrosh going all the way down to about 20%, maybe even a little bit lower, as the red camp facing off in the mid lane here after the blue camp has already gone down. So 3v3 in the middle, Falstaff v Jaina in the bot lane. Looks like slightly in favor of Jaina for now. She does have the overall better wave clear, maybe until level 7 when Falstad gets that boomerang. And we do see the Detainment Strike quest coming out for Ariel, wanting to hit those people into the walls. You know, she's done pretty well with Garrosh already, so I expect to see good value coming out of her. And the Grenade quest for Junkrat, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, see how he does. Coming up in the top lane, both of these heroes pretty healthy. Daka came back into it and said, you know what, I'm back. I'm going to be a little bit more cautious this time. Alrighty. In the mid lane, 4v1. Garrosh says, not today, I'm out of here. And Dahaka staying top lane, getting that soak as long as he can until his team can show up to the objective. As we will see Bancho starting the channel, and now while UARK is working on getting that camp, they're already a third of the way through this prison camp channel. Imperius going in on Jaina, managed to get her really far down, and the Junkrat bombs almost take her out, but not quite enough. The once again, Ariel knocking Garrosh right into a wall. It looks like they will be able to stall. They only need 5 seconds here, but Bluestein charging in and gets thrown over by Garrosh. Dahaka gets knocked away as well, and there's the tongue in on the Imperius as Redemption Quest is now complete for the Hanzo. So they don't quite get the full channel there, but again, they do have Junkrat, so they can stall this pretty much forever if they set themselves up in the right place to do it. But unfortunately, that grenade was just not quite where it needed to be to bounce all the way over there. And look at this trap just sitting there. And unfortunately, Stukov managed to make it past it. And Junkrat poking, throwing out that concussion mark. But there's no reason. Like, nobody's going to be there. Unless somebody actually gets in there and stops it. The Imperius dive in, unfortunately, gets nobody, and he gets caught by the stun. The power slide in on the Garrosh. But again, once again, and the tongue now onto ETC as he gets thrown into the back. The concussion mine just too late to save him. UARK Esports looking strong as they have the level 7 advantage over Bancho, and they do manage to complete the full channel of the cavalry. Feels bad, man, as Bancho was only 2.3 seconds away, but just couldn't quite complete the job there. Level 7's now online. That is a boomerang, right? Yeah, okay. Just making sure that wasn't secret weapon. I think that's yellow in color. So UARK Esports splitting up, getting the full amount of soak that they can from each of these lanes. The primary pressure being in the mid lane, but don't count out the Hanzo and I believe Dahaka's up in the top lane here. Yeah, getting as much as they can out of this, soaking these minions, getting these turrets down for XP, getting the damage on the forts, and it looks like they do finish mid lane, and they're coming down here now for the bot lane, and should easily be able to finish that, as now the cavalry being completely negated. They are all dead. Oh man, I think I'm going to be yawning a couple more times during the stream, so sorry for anybody that is sitting at home listening to me yawn on this. I'll try to avoid it. But look at this, we've got a cheeky boss play pre-10. It looks like they decided to go ahead and back out. I think that's probably the better call. There was no real significant value there. And it looks like Hanzo's going to go ahead and head back with Stukov, work on that camp again. So that's this will be their third camp, and I think we've only seen the one camp for Bancho, the Knoll camp anyways. Looks like they might be heading... Yeah, so Junkrat's going to go ahead and head over here and start this process. He's got Oriole with him, so they'll get that going. Let's take a look at top lane. Both heroes up here in the top are completely full. And we do have heroics online, so we do see the Water Elemental for Jaina, the Warlord's Challenge for Garrosh, the Isolation for Dahaka, the Massive Shove for Stukov, and that Dragon's Arrow. And now that they have level 10s, they say, yeah, we can do this, and we see you on the map. This is our boss. And Quinal on that Junkrat's going to be able to come down here and scout it out, but I don't think there's anything he can do unless he wants to try something really cheeky and most likely just die. So we do have these two members. We got Oriole, we got Falstad. Clearing out that camp in the middle, doing what they can. And for those of you who are not familiar there, I do have some silly little extension there. If you check out the extensions underneath the stream, you can click on... I don't even remember what the heck I named that thing. But anyways, you can click on it to level up, and if you click him, he gives a little heart sign thingy. So anyways, it's just a fun thing to do. In the meantime, we have UARK Esports coming up and getting the second boss as well. And Banjo looking to rotate up here, but they're just a little bit too late. They just have too much DPS here. Falstad actually using his flight to try to get up here, but just not in time. They do have Mighty Gust, Riptire, Angelic Armaments, Crystal Aegis, and we don't yet have the ETC, probably Mosh. But you do have a lot of Mosh counters, so you have to be really cautious of the Mosh. You have to pay attention to the timer on those abilities, make sure that the easy ones to land are not ready, or that you get value out of it somewhere else, right? That you set it up so that maybe they have to make a Massive Shove or Isolation rather. But we'll see. Blue Space Hat gets knocked in by that concussion mine, but he's able to just pop that Indomitable and walk away. ETC power sliding in. He still has Mosh now. The Riptire going out, going to knock the Garrosh back as he now throws the ETC back, who mounts up, and they're trying to get the channel on this. The concussion mine from Junkrat knocking Jaina over his head, and they are able to finish that, so it is a 2-for-0 trade in favor of Bancho. They barely managed to survive on that camp, so 2.9 seconds as they will now start the channel on their camp. Looking to get their Horde Orc representative out of that cage. Where's Resurrection? Rex says, why not? The best ult in the game. Nothing could possibly go wrong with a 5-second countdown of when somebody's going to spawn in a very specific location. So we do see level 13s coming up as the Hanzo arrow hits 4 members of Bancho. The Gust managing to knock back, but the power slide in from ETC, and there's the Garrosh Warbringer. Anyways, the Groundbreaker. There we go. Bluestein in trouble on the Imperius as he gets knocked down. Now Ario getting caught and ETC power sliding over the Dahaka, but Hanzo finishes that job. So now what was a 2-for-0 trade, thanks to level 13s, goes over in favor to UARK Esports now with a 3-for-0 trade. But they do ultimately lose the prisoner camp, so they'll be able to clear this up thanks to having those 3 kills. And they're pretty ahead in structures already. They have all 3 of these down. They may very well lose some walls here, but I don't think that they're going to lose even a fort out of this, because there's just no pressure to go with it. And as I say that, Junkrat and Falstad coming down here to the bot, trying to push Jack's Taxman back. The concussion mine will knock him out of the way, but not really any significant value, just trying to stall things. Imperius manages to get that angelic or celestial charge, but Tongue coming out, pulling him back in, and the isolation finishes, keeping him from getting away. The Hanzo arrow manages to hit both Falstad and Ariel, and Falstad very low, but he is going to be able to walk out again thanks to that Mighty Gust. So we do see level 13 now coming online for Bancho, so they've got some upgraded talents. We've got the mic check coming out for ETC, giving him that reduced cooldown on the face melt. The bogged down, so the slow on concussion mine, with as many times as he's hitting these concussion mines, that's going to be huge value to them. We do see that increased healing, field of heat for, I'm sorry, heat of battle, field of heat of course being a Zarya talent. I just failed that Nexus Edge challenge, way to go. And Falstad of course getting Giant Killer. Pretty helpful against that Garrosh, maybe even that Stukov and Dahaka, as they both have a little bit healthier, well, I guess healthy health pools. The redundancy department here. And then the Piercing Lash, so managing to knock everybody in a line. I don't know how much value we're going to see out of it. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't really seen too much going on with that. But they are now down 16 to 14. So we are seeing these new 16 talents coming out for UARK. We've got the Root coming out, Numbing Blast for Jaina. Garrosh popping is Indomitable, trying to get in on something, but they just walked away, and probably what they have to do. Junkrat trying to stall as ETC power slides in on Jaina. The Junkrat's thing that he does, the Riptire manages to get through just barely, almost ran out, kills the Jaina, and Blue Space Hat in very much a lot of trouble as he now gets caught by the Imperius. The concussion by knocking him back. There's no way he makes out of this. There's no way he makes it out of this. And there we go. Okay. ETC power sliding in onto the Dahaka, trying to slow things down, but he will get out as now Stukov finishes that level 1 quest. So his weighted pustule, I think is what it's called, will no longer cost him mana and has a reduced cooldown. We do see that piercing arrows, by the way, for the Hanzo. So getting that extra burst potential, and the Earthshaker getting that stun on the AoE when he throws an enemy hero into other enemy heroes. So that 14v16 working out very much in favor of Ban Cho. Probably a little bit lucky there, thanks to the Jaina being a little bit out of position. And now it's a 4v4 as Falstad is not quite with the team. ETC power sliding in over the Dahaka, knocks them back, and here comes the Mosh on nobody important, but the Crystal Aegis stops it. The Hanzo arrow hits a big hit, and Jaina gets knocked over the wall. She's very slow, but she does manage to get that root onto half of the team there. And Imperius at some point went down, as now the tongue on the ETC, the throw, and he will go down too, and that body goes flying. And now with that, once again, the trade going back and forth, and now this time Ban Cho loses 2 of their members, as Oriel, trying to make it out here alive, gets rooted into the blizzard, taking a bunch of damage, but she will make it out, and Junkrat far enough away that he's going to make it out as well. So getting this wall down, bottom tower down, and it looks like with this wave they can at least get some damage on this mid fort, and if they get that cavalry, this will definitely be a keep. Indomitable pop, trying to get him out of that fort. The concussion mine just barely after the Indomitable expired, but unfortunately not in a position to throw him back, just off to the side. Oriel getting silenced by the isolation and obliterated thanks to that Dahaka tongue. Blue Space Hat is in trouble in the back here as the massive shove goes out to push ETC back. The Riptire manages to hit a couple of UARK, and Junkrat trying to get out with his concussion mine, but unfortunately not the way he wanted to go. And ETC now caught both by Jaina's root and somebody else's stun, I think, the Groundbreaker maybe. Looked like he was maybe going to be able to get away thanks to that Mighty Gust, but Jaina just barely juked out of it and able to finish him off. So a 3-for-0 trade, and now here comes the cavalry. They're going to take down that mid keep, no problems, and they're already starting the damage on this bottom wall. This could very well be 2 keeps going over for UARK Esports. No swords. I think there were swords. I think they probably just broke. You don't get the swords if you lose the shield. So, and there you go. Detainment Strike managing to hit 2 members. I am now a believer. Getting both of them into the wall there. And it looks like this could very well be all 3 keeps of the game going over for UARK here in just a moment. ETC power sliding in, the silence going out onto 2 with the contagion, the big Hanzo arrow with the play of the game. Groundbreaker hitting that Falstad and ETC being rooted. There are those swords coming out from Bluestein. He's looking for somebody to hit. He's got to throw them out at some point or there's just no value. And he did not throw them out. The core is at 20% or less here. And they're looking to try to finish it off. Jax Taxman, the only player in there, working it hard. The mosh pit onto the DPS in the back, but it's just not enough as UARK Esports will close it out 2-0 over Bancho on Alterac Pass. And they didn't even bother with that third cavalry, that third keep in the bot lane. They just said, you know what, we can do this with 2. So good on them. Good game to UARK Esports. 2-0 over Bancho. And not a whole lot of kills in that game, 12-5. Well, they did get a couple of favorable team fights that pushed them back, but ultimately every time they went back because somebody died, they were able to push right back into them. So let's see if we can get Z-Blaster or somebody from the UARK Esports to come in and chat with us. Take a quick look at these talents. We did see level 20 come online there, so we did get that Winter Mute. We got the Contagion. We got the play of the game. Bio Explosion switch, so that's silence when you interrupt them in the silence. Or I'm sorry, when you hit your Bio Crystal Witch in the silence. And then of course Titanic Might throwing 2 people with that stun. So give us just a moment here. I'm gonna tag out and see if I can get Z-Blaster or somebody in for an interview into maybe an NGS lobby here. Oh, is that them? That's not them. We'll go to lobby 2. Some salt in the in-game. Did I miss that? I'll have to go back and look at that. I didn't see that. Let's see. Jax Taxman, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Anybody else coming? Just you?
I think it's just me.
Fair enough.
I got nominated to do this. I mean, I volunteered also, but...
Well, that's fair. You know, the last time we were in a chat, I had also volunteered for a very different set of circumstances, however. So congratulations on your big victory tonight. How you feeling?
Feeling really good. Honestly, I didn't play my best. I had 3 deaths in that first game, but it was okay because the whole team, other than me, stepped it up. And so we ended up taking a solid win tonight.
Yeah, that so that first match on Battlefield of Eternity. Now, I was looking back. Of course, I do the scouting reports, so I had a little bit of information. I don't know if you guys were listening in while we were waiting on everybody from the other team to show up, but so I was going over some of the details, and of course, at least as of the time that we played you guys had only been to BOE once. They had been there 4 times, 3-1. So when BOE was selected by Bancho, was that in any way a concern for you, seeing what their map record was there?
Okay, so I don't want to put my captain on blast, but I'm gonna put my captain on blast. Which is, we said in the pregame, okay, let's ban BOE because they like BOE. And then, all of us, the captain went to the map pick channel for the coin toss, and the rest of us went AFK for, water bottle filling, bathroom, what have you. And then we got back and he said, all right, guys, they took us to BOE, and we were all very confused. So it turned out that he had not heard us when we said to ban BOE. And so then while we were gone, he tried to ask what map we had wanted to ban. And so since we weren't there to answer him, he just went ahead and banned Infernal because we often ban Infernal. But it ended up working out. And so, it's fine. I mean, the problem that we sometimes have with BOE is that we've, in the past, not done a good job of getting the race we need. But we were very mindful of that coming into this, that we knew that they were very strong on BOE. So if we wanted to take that game, we needed to really play our A game. So we made sure we drafted enough bursts that we could get a good race going.
Well, and it worked out for you. Each of those fights, and this went in, in both games. Each time that Bancho won a fight in both games, shortly thereafter, when everybody rezzed, you guys came back and won it harder. Right? They beat you, got 2 kills. You came back and got 3 kills, and also the Immortal.
Yeah, I figure that was kind of our game plan. Was let's trade positively whenever we can. And like I said, I died I think 3 times in the first game, but I didn't feel as bad about it because I think every time I died, we were coming out positive in those trades. Um, and I think you can play a little more aggressive playstyle and have some of those deaths as long as you're following up on it and trading up. I still think I misplayed in several of those opportunities, but yeah, it's as long as you can turn a death into a trade for a couple kills, then it ends up really not hurting you in the long run, especially when it's on the objective like it was in some of those fights.
Yeah, for sure. And there were a couple of instances there where you guys were able to capitalize on the benefits of the immortal getting a stun. There was one particular stun on a Tyrande early. I think it may have even been the first immortal, where you guys got one kill just because they were too far out, and then followed up by the Tyrande because she was just slightly out of alignment of where she needed to be, and then of course she just melted to your burst comp, right? And that was the difference between your comps. They had a very heavy race comp, and played it pretty decently. But you guys had a focus on the team fight, defend when we need to, burst down the immortal when we need to, and played it very well. You guys executed that very positively. So well done. So I noticed here. So Ana and Sylvanas were both banned by them pretty consistently. Yep. Sylvanas, somebody you guys have somebody that plays Sylvanas a lot?
I mean, Sylvanas is just really good right now. So, and we have an assassin. Our assassin player can play Sylv because Sylv is a good assassin. So, you know, you figure, and we've played her several times just because she is so good in the meta right now, that you figure when we've got a hero that's that good that we've shown success on, it's not really that surprising that they chose to ban her out in both games. And if they hadn't, we probably would have played her in at least one of those games. So probably a good ban by them.
For sure. And that, of course, being Pokemaster J?
Yeah, he's our typical Sylvanas player.
Gotcha.
I mean, when it comes to assassins, it's really just a... I mean, it's just pick your poison, because at least for us, we kind of have to tell Pokemaster sometimes, like, bro, you don't have to play every hero in the game. Like, you don't have to play every assassin. I know you want to, but like, because when we divvy those up, it's like, all right, who's gonna play this? And it's like, either one of us could play it. It's like, okay, well, that's not good for practicing because we want to practice we want one person to actually, be consistent practicing the hero they'll actually play in the match. But yeah, it's a good problem to have. That you're right.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have that you have a deep hero pool, right? And that makes it it makes it a little bit more difficult in practice, but makes it much more flexible when you're out there actually trying to win games, right?
Yeah, no, and we certainly like to think that is advantageous to us, is to have that deep hero pool. But of course, when you let us play those really strong meta heroes like Sylvanas and Ana, we're gonna take them. And so they said, we're not going to let you do that. And hard to blame them for it.
For sure. Well, so you guys finished very strong at the end of the season. Other than one team, which, I won't beat you up too much about it. You guys had like a really solid match win streak. And I think you guys won even, a couple games after that game. Now continuing this in tonight's match with Ban Cho, your next matchup is against the Found Vikings, which you guys played early in the season, your 4th match. You played there with Volskaya, you played there with Tomb, you lost both of those games. What are you thinking about going into this matchup here next week?
We need to play better than we did the first time. I mean, I don't want to give you just boring platitudes, but we got to get it scheduled, but we'll probably schedule it. We'd like to schedule it for not, the next 2 days, because we'll take a minute to take a breather, try to, get some scouting info on them, get some good practice in, just play well, try to make as few mistakes as possible and punish the mistakes they make. I don't know. Got any more platitudes I need to throw out? We're gonna give it 110%. How's
there you go. I was just gonna say that one. We're gonna show up and play our best. That's all we got to do, one game at a time. Well, good deal. You know, I don't have any other significant stuff to throw out at you other than I did want to say thank you to you and Dead Latin for. I'm pretty sure you guys have cast us, but also just casting around the Nexus gaming series in other areas as well. So really appreciate that. So floor is all yours for any shout outs you'd like to have or any comments you'd like to make to your current opponents that you just defeated or your upcoming opponents.
Well, I'd like to reciprocate the thanks. Thank you for casting our match. I mean, I think personally, I think casting's really fun. Honestly, I mean,
It really is.
like, yeah, I think it's a great time. But yeah, thanks for doing it. We always appreciate having people cast our games, and you're fairly experienced, so probably means you're good to some degree at least. So always good to get the good casters. Shout out to the rest of the team. Of course, couldn't do it without them. They played better than me today anyway. Shout out to our coach, even though we haven't talked to him in like a week. Please come back to us. We're lonely. Shout out to everyone watching the stream for watching. Comments for our previous opponents, Bancho. I mean, well played. Really good series. And like, yeah, really good series. And for our next opponents, Found Vikings, I hope it goes well and I hope we win. We promised Regen, right? We would do our best to rematch you guys in the finals. So trying to make good on that promise. We'll see what happens.
And you know what? That's absolutely fair. Of course, we have our matchup coming up with Almost Legends here in a few days on Thursday at 8:15. If you happen to be interested in catching that, which you may very well want to, since you know if you beat Found Vikings, you're gonna want to know how things are going in that other matchup. So keep an eye out for that. But once again, congratulations on your 2-0 victory. Keeping that consistency over Bancho from the regular season. That's all I got for you. Go enjoy the rest of your evening, and you know if you didn't catch Game of Thrones, you can go hit that up, or see Avengers this week.
I don't. Not gonna do either, honestly. But I'm just gonna play some more HOTS.
I mean, that's fair too.
I'm actually already in another game of HOTS. I'll be honest with you.
Of course, because that's what we do around here.
Yeah. I have homework that I really should be doing right now, and yet here I am playing another game of HOTS.
You know what? You got to ride that high. Enjoy the game. Good luck to you. Hope you win it, and we'll see you next week with your match against the Found Vikings. Looking forward to see it.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
Have a great night.
You too.
Alrighty, everybody, and with that, we come to the end of the stream, the end of the evening, as UARK Esports successfully overcomes Bancho 2-0 in this Division C East quarterfinals. They will be heading up into the semifinals against the Found Vikings now, and if it seems like I'm stalling, it's because I am. I'm trying to update the bracket so that we can see that. Let's take a look here at what the bracket looks like. And boom, there we go. So UARK Esports versus the Found Vikings. Then, of course, the winner of that match will play the winner of Almost Legends versus Regen Red in the finals for Div C East. And then the following week, of course, the C East versus West matchup, the grand finals. And we all know that the East is going to stomp the West, but we'll try to at least give them a run for their money, whichever team makes it up here. So we do have the top 4 teams: number 1, Found Vikings; number 2, Regen Red; number 3, Almost Legends; and number 4, UARK Esports, going into the semifinals. Have an absolutely wonderful night and the rest of your weekend, which it's past midnight now, at least on the East Coast, so I guess it's now Monday, whatever. Bad Monday. Yay. And we'll see you coming up here next week. Keep an eye on the channel for anything coming up. And just a quick look here at the ticker. If you are looking for your next match tomorrow, we do have the Div D East? No, West. Yeah, West. Save the Murloc versus Backbone AI. Not yet have a caster, so if you're a caster and you want to catch that, I believe they set it for 10:30 Eastern time. And then also Hodus versus News. You can catch that one over on Murda's channel at twitch.tv/MurdaRG for Murda Regen. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week.